Good evening. I hope you all are doing well. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you clicked on this video even after seeing the title, um, just so that we're all on the same page. I made this channel for the sole purpose of serving the Lord. I hope personally with all my heart that this channel reaches as many people as it can. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't care how many people see this video. I don't care how many people interact with this channel. My sole purpose for making these videos and creating this channel is for the Lord. It's for carrying out His will and serving His purpose. And if His purpose is that one person clicks on this video and gains something from it, or that one person interacts with this channel and maybe even puts their faith in Him as a minute result of that, then that's good, because that's the Lord's will. And I don't have any high ambitions or any high goals for making these videos. I don't have a statistical goal. I don't have a certain amount of people that I want to reach. I don't have a certain amount of money I want to make. I don't have any of these high goals and high hopes and ambitions for what I'm doing here. I'm going to make this video and I'm going to keep coming back because I love the Lord, and I've been in silence for too long. I've been silent for too long, and it's killing me. I don't like it. And I don't like it because I put my faith in Him. And whenever we spend our lives in opposition to Him, when we've put our faith in Him, turns out we don't like that very much. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm here to serve the Lord. I'm here to serve His purpose and carry out His will. And so, we're going to talk about Jesus Christ. Now, you already clicked on this video, but if you hear those words, if you hear the words, Jesus Christ, and your first inclination is to run, if you hear the words, Jesus Christ, and the first thought that comes to your head is to just exit out of this video, if you hear the words, Jesus Christ, and the first reaction you have is to just go right down to the comments section and say some nonsense, some ludicrous crap. If you hear the words Jesus Christ and the first thing that comes to your head, first thing that pops in your mind is hatred or some sort of negativity, then I just ask you to give Jesus a chance. Give Him a chance. Come to Him. Just watch this video with an open heart, an open mind, and go to Him with an open heart and an open mind. I like to compare it to my testimony. I grew up my entire life. Let's start here. For all my life, I've hated country music. Hated it. All throughout my childhood, all throughout high school, through most of my college years, I hated country music. Despised it. Until, one day, I guess there might have been a song I heard that my ears liked, and I went home, I listened to that song a few more times, and then from that spurred the desire to want to hear more. And fast forward to today, country music is my favorite genre of music, I would say. My biggest playlist on Spotify is country playlist. But going all the way back to the days that I didn't like country music, looking back on that now, I can tell you that I had taken such a small sample size of what I heard, sample size of music, of what I heard from country, and kind of just portrayed all of that onto the entire genre. I had heard a few of your stereotypical, honky-tonk, upbeat country songs, and I was like, man, every country song sounds the same, and they all just don't sound good to me. I don't like it at all. And so every single time anybody would start talking about country music, I'm over here, slandering it and throwing hate on it because I didn't like it. All because I had heard a few songs that I didn't want nothing to do with. Now stay with me, okay? So I'm sure if you're watching this video, I'm sure that you probably have had the same thing happen in your life. Maybe it's with music, maybe it's with food, maybe it's with a school subject, maybe it's with anything. That's how we treat many things in this life. Is they don't give them much attention, and we create an opinion that's not backed by hardly any evidence. And I can tell you, I did the same thing with Jesus Christ. I didn't really fully hear the gospel until I was in college, but all my life I had heard of God, I had heard of Jesus, but the stereotypical, not even stereotypical, the common opinion of the world is in opposition to Christ, and it's in opposition to the good news of the gospel. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. We don't even want to give it a chance. But man, how much did I love that country music after I finally gave it a chance? And the same is true with Jesus. I finally opened my ears. Well, I finally opened my heart, my mind, and gave him a chance. Everything changed. And it's only because I was actually willing to extend my heart and open my mind and give him that chance. How true is that in your life? How true is that? How often do you hear the words of Christ and your mind goes blank? Not blank in a good way. Maybe I should word that differently. How often do you hear Jesus' name, and just and turn the other way? Open your mind. We need to open our minds, and we need to just give him a chance. In our life, let's take it this way. In our life, we go about living based upon something we believe in. Every one of our actions, all of our behaviors attest to something that we each believe in. All the way down to the finest, all the way down to the smallest details, right? Like I said, with country music, with food we eat. Well, how much more is that true with the more important things? How we actually live our lives. No one can look at me and tell me that they've been living their entire lives off of one belief and they've never been willing to give anything else a chance. I put my faith in Christ, but that doesn't mean that I came to that conclusion only through. That doesn't mean I came to that conclusion without giving anything else a chance. I mean, heck, I lived like 20 years in opposition to his name. I believed in many things. And all of them turned out not to be true. But the point is, how are you ever going to find out that anything is true if you don't test it? How are you going to find out that what you're living for is true if you're not willing to listen to what other people are living for and observe whether or not they are true? Many people I interact with can't even give a good plot of evidence for what they're living for, let alone are they willing to listen to what I live for. So that's all I want to tell you today, is to listen, to just listen. Approach Jesus with an open heart and open mind. In the book of Acts, chapter 17, book of Acts, chapter 17, starting with verse 10, it reads, "As soon as it was night, the believers sent Paul and Silas away to Berea. On arriving there, they went to the Jewish synagogue. Now, the Berean Jews were of more noble character than those in Thessalonica, for they received the message with great eagerness and examined the scriptures every day to see if what Paul said was true. As a result, many of them believed, as did also a number of prominent Greek women and many Greek men." Now that is it's a historical and biblical example of people coming to Jesus. Says many times in the Gospels when he's preaching and when he's giving messages to people, he says, "Those who have ears to hear, let them hear." He who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And that doesn't mean that if you have ears and they work, then listen up. It means if you have ears and you have a mind that are willing to listen, if you have a heart that's willing to be open and take in the words I'm about to say with thought, then stay and listen. And this is an example of people who have ears to hear. This is an example of people opening their hearts, opening their minds, and giving Jesus a chance, hearing his word, and then doing what's most important for personally, and actually taking that and testing it against the word. They're opening the word. They're opening their scriptures to examine. They're opening the scriptures. It says, with great eagerness. They received the message with great eagerness and examined the scriptures every day to see if what Paul said was true. How many of us are doing that? I myself have heard things before and just not paid it any attention. And so many of us in this world today just hear good news like this. They hear great news and they don't pay it any attention. They don't hear it with eagerness. They don't examine the evidence every single day to see if what was told to them is true. They just completely forget about it. They completely forget about it. Again, in the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 6, it says, the mocker seeks wisdom and finds none, but knowledge comes easily to the discerning. How can you expect to receive any good knowledge in your life if you're not discerning, if you don't approach it with an open mind and an open heart? And so I just wanted to make this video sort of as an introduction. And I hope that, whoever sees this, video has learned something and has gained something from it. And I hope that you all just give Jesus a chance. Give him a chance. It's not easy. It's not easy to live your entire life living and believing on something and then changing it just like that. It doesn't work like that anyways. But we've got to be able to give something a chance. How do you even know that what you're living for is true? How do you even know that? It's a scary thought, living your life for something that might not even be true. So hear the word. Hear the word. Last point I want to make. How? How do you give Jesus a chance? Well, I think the first thing you have to do, and the most prominent thing to do, is to open the word yourself. Go to the words of Christ. Start with the Gospels. Go to what Christ said and test it. Look at the evidence. Hear his words. Learn about who he is and what he lived for. Do that before you do anything. Watching videos are great. And I'm always going to come on here and speak the truth. I'm going to say exactly what God has taught me. And there are many other people who do the same thing. But guess what? There are also many people who don't. There are many people who just speak a lot of lies. And that's why it's important that you always stick to the word first. No matter what you hear from anyone, no matter who it is, you go and test what they've said against the word. And that's how you're going to give Jesus a chance. And when you're lost and you don't know, and you don't know any answers, and you're lost and you have all these questions, go to the Lord. Go to the Lord in prayer. And go to his word. One thing I can say about the Lord's character, there's a lot to learn about the Lord's character, but one thing I can say is that he is full of love. And he is all good. And so you definitely need to be wary of anything that is said about him that might be in opposition to that. But there's a lot more I could say, and that could be maybe a topic for another day. So thank you all for interacting with this video. Thank you for clicking on it. Thank you for hearing what I had to say. And give Jesus a chance. Give him a chance. All right? Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.